Welcome to this special edition of the SPORTOF Bowling Show. On this episode, we welcome USBC President-Elect Melissa McDaniel, USBC Deputy Executive Director Jason Overstreet. And now, it's time for the SPORTOF Bowling Show.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the SPORTOF Bowling Show. We're glad to have you with us as we have a terrific guest here for a conversation. It's President-Elect Melissa McDaniel. Many of you may be familiar with Melissa. She's been chair of the IBC Youth Committee for several years and also happens to run the largest youth program in the country out of Buffalo Lanes in Raleigh, North Carolina. We're going to hear a little bit about Melissa's history in the sport. She's also an accomplished bowler, averages well over 200 in her league at home, and has a 300 game to her credit. So I know it's going to be a great conversation as we'll have a chance to learn about what is ahead in this new presidency that'll start on August 1st. And with that, let's welcome into the program Melissa McDaniel, USBC President-Elect, live from Raleigh. Welcome, Melissa.
Hi, Jason. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's terrific to have you and great to see that you're doing well in the midst of this shutdown. And I know that you're eager to get back out onto the lanes and get with your youth bowlers as soon as possible. Let's start this conversation just for those folks that haven't had maybe the opportunity to come to USBC convention and get a chance to meet you personally, to allow you to just tell everyone in the membership a little bit about yourself.
Well, like you said, I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina. I have had the pleasure of working for an amazing family of bowling centers, the Buffalo family. I'm a very self-motivated individual that loves a challenge. I love to learn new things. I don't know a stranger, so if you haven't come up and spoke to me yet, just do so, because I'm going to talk to you. I don't know a stranger.
Anyone who's seen you at Junior Gold knows that's the truth.
Correct. That is that's a very good point, Jason. And if those of you that don't know, I have a very cute Siberian Husky that's 9 years old named Vegas.
A dog lover as well. So how did you get started in the sport? Obviously, it's something that's more than just a profession for you. It's really a passion. How did all that come to be?
Well, it's funny. Growing up, both my parents bowled. And so getting started with them, my parents got me started bowling at about 5 years old. I remember my first bowling ball was a Black Beauty, no holes, chunked that sucker right down the middle of the lane. And it's been a lifetime passion ever since. My parents moved to Raleigh, and my mom took a job with Fairlanes. Back then it was called Fairlanes. And a few years later, she went to work for the Buffalo family and has been working there for about 37 years to the day.
Just been in your blood and part of what you do for a long time. Like I know a lot of folks that are so passionate on our board. Youth bowling has been your profession. I didn't mention in the bio, but should also. You're an accomplished coach, a silver level USBC coach. You know, I know it took a lot of steps and a lot of effort and community cooperation to build that program. You know, what were some of the keys that you found to be able to energize and establish such a successful youth base there in Raleigh?
Well, first of all, we have a great team here at Buffalo Lanes. We have 5 bowling centers. And it's a big team effort. We have great volunteers, we have great coaches, but we also have great proprietors that just really stand behind the youth bowling. We provide a lot of coaching and assistance, but we also make it fun because, you know, some people just want to come out and have fun, and then there are some that want to take it all the way. And we have a spot for everyone. We also have what's called Lifetime Sports, where the high schools bust their PE classes in. So those kids actually are coached by their PE coaches. And they take exams. They learn all of bowling's history. They have a 100-question exam. It's crazy, but and then they learn the sport of bowling, and they also qualify for some scholarships as well because we also certify them.
Well, I hope everybody at home knows that being on USBC's board of directors is purely a volunteer role. All the hours that you put in, you know, don't receive any payment for that, and certainly. All of our local association and state association volunteers out there understand that well. What is it that got you started in volunteering and in this path to be now leading our volunteer governance structure at USBC?
So I think it started for me when, as a youth bowler, so our local association had what was called youth leaders. And so I got started pretty young into that, really enjoyed that experience. And I think it just kind of guided me right into that. It was natural for me just to kind of go into the governance side of it. With Kathy DeSocio, when she asked me to volunteer to be on the youth committee, it was an easy process for me. And I really enjoyed the time there. I learned so much.
It is a continuing learning process, and we'll talk a little bit later about some of the committees you've had a chance to be a part of and the different disciplines that you help bring to the board. You know, you've been on the USBC board for a few years now, as there have been several different initiatives under the leadership of the board that USBC has put in place. As you look at your tenure thus far, what are some of the things that you feel most proud of, most passionate about that has happened with the organization in the last few years?
Yeah, so I'm really proud of the board of directors and the decisions that we have made as a group. So the one that really stands out to me is just creating a path for the local and state associations to become more engaged, you know, specifically through the Leadership Academy and the workshops. I think that's really been an important piece for the USBC board.
And I know that's something that we've had to pause due to the COVID epidemic, but it's something that we're working on, you know, under the strategic direction of the board here at the staff level, to look for ways to be able to use technology to be able to make that something that, you know, we can bring back as a resource sooner rather than later. And I know, as you said, I know that's been important for you to see happen.
Yes, absolutely.
When USBC was formed, you know, the merger of ABC, WIBC, YABA, and USA Bowling, you know, there was a lot of concern from all sides that USBC would become a representative organization. And certainly, I think some well-documented concerns from WIBC that women's voice would be lost in the merger, in the creation of USBC. You're the second now female president of USBC. You know, what does that mean? And does some of what you know of the history of WIBC and some of what's come to the creation and the formation of our organization today, how does that influence your decision making? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, so I'm proud of that for sure. USBC is still young, and the history of WIBC is USBC's history. So there have been many great leaders within the bowling who are women for many years before me. Just next in a long line of great female leaders. And really, it really shouldn't be about male or female, but about the collective good. You know, instead of focusing on about it being about a woman or me, let's make it about service and bowling in this role and being good at, like all the past leaders have been, like WIBC and ABC had in the past.
I want to talk a little bit about the PWBA Tour. I know that's been an initiative that you've been passionate about and involved in. It has really been a galvanizing project within the industry over the last few years. USBC and BPA together creating a new opportunity for competitive female bowlers. Just what have you seen, and what do you feel like that has meant to competitive bowling and for women's bowling?
Yeah, I love this question. So I think that it's important to showcase our athletes at all levels, but they are role models to the younger generation. The girls that are coming out of high school and to college. I mean, the collegiate program is just exploding. I mean, the numbers are just great for that, and the growth. I think that it's little girls being able to watch these women bowl and to really have them as role models and to have something to look forward to, that there is something to bowl after college, I think is so vital for our sport, just like any other sport.
Your center there actually had the privilege of hosting a PWBA Tour event. Having that there in your community and being able to witness it firsthand, what's that experience like? How do you describe it?
Now that was a fun week. That was a fun week of work. Exhausting, but a great week. Our league bowlers absolutely loved it. From the time we announced it, from the time that tickets went on sale, we knew that we were not going to have any issues selling out of those tickets. And we sold out both of our Bowl of the Pro events, our TV finals. It was so exciting, and to watch everyone be so excited about and their passion for it and their just love for it. The women were the bowlers were just amazing with our league bowlers and our staff and everyone. I think they had a good time here. We fed them well and had the hospitality room set up for them. Had a chiropractor for them, so Aspen Chiropractor did an amazing job with them. But I work for the Buffalo family, which is 3 brothers, and it's so funny. I've known them just about my entire life. And I have never seen them so excited and giddy than that day of the television finals. I think they were as nervous as I was, but they had a blast that day. Our center had just went through a huge renovation. And so it was like, getting to showcase it and to being able to like a re-grand opening and then to see it on national television was absolutely amazing.
Youth bowling, I want to get back to that, has been one of the great success elements for USBC under the leadership of you as the IBC chair, Frank Wilkinson. Before you, we've seen success with junior gold, success with collegiate growth. Great examples of diversity in terms of the champions and participants in youth bowling. I'm curious, it seems to speak for itself, but why is that investment and that success in youth bowling so important for the sport as a whole?
Well, another great question. They are the future for the sport. I mean, the kids, how cool is it to see kids of all ages on TV? Crowning champions, crowning a U12, he can be 10 years old. It's watching these little kids bowl on TV, and there is a product for every single kid out there. Everybody can bowl. It doesn't matter from the entry level to the high to the elite. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. You go all the way up to the top of junior gold. You can get Team USA, but then you have bumper bowling and just the fun of it for kids. And I think, like I said, it's the future for the sport, and I think we all have to stand behind that.
Melissa, having spent several years as the chair of the IBC Youth Committee and leading all of those initiatives at the volunteer governance level, how does that experience translate and help you here now as you take over leadership of the USBC board as a whole?
Yeah, so in the beginning, you had to do a lot of listening and a lot of learning about how things worked and how important it was. I worked with so many great people that stepping into the chair was very efficient, as I expect this to be. It's a big team effort, and we have a great team behind us. I had a lot of help from others to allow to work with our staff and to implement programs. Gary Brown was fantastic as a mentor and a leader for that group, and he and I, we kind of got thrown into that, and we just took it and ran with it. It kind of gives you, when you organize a committee like that, it gives you life experiences that I'll lean on now as USBC president. It's always been the group, not about the group, but and about more of a team effort. And I don't think that's any reason for that to change. Honestly, we have a great board, and I'm looking forward to working with everyone in this new role.
And certainly youth experience isn't the only thing that you've had the opportunity to be exposed to at the board level. I know that you've served on several key committees, being involved in some very important elements at USBC. Could you share some of your other committee involvement and just some of the lessons that you've learned from that work that you're able to apply now moving forward?
Yeah, so I've served on quite a few, especially last year. Carl really, he did it in for me last year. But I've served on equipment specs, finance, Hall of Fame, obviously the youth committee. Really the big piece for me was equipment and specs. Andrew Kane, he leads a great group there. There are a lot of smart people in that room that know a lot about bowling and just the science behind it. And I think that committee is so important, and what they strive for, I mean, it's just amazing. And like I said, Andrew does a great job working with the staff and with Chad on that level for equipment and specs. I think that's such an important committee.
One of the things that we do both here at the staff level and with the board is we do training. We look at personality profile, strengths, talk about leadership profile, and how boards and organizations can function best. So I know you've spent time thinking about that, looking at that inside yourself and at others. What would you describe, or how would you describe your leadership style and what you bring to the board in terms of experience and leadership and approach?
Committed and confident, definitely. Very passionate about the sport, as all of us volunteers are. Thinking is something that is important to me, and usually, you have to listen first, and you really have to stop to think about the process. I'm a great listener. I do like to process it and think about it. But definitely the passion about the sport, and I think that's really important to have in this role.
So I know that you mentioned along the way some other folks who have been influential to you within bowling in terms of mentors, role models. I'm curious, both whether it's within bowling or outside of bowling, I'll leave it to you. Who are some of your role models in terms of leadership and folks that you'll look to somewhat model what you'd like to be as leader of this national organization?
Yeah, so I think it's a team effort, really. But I've had, I've got a great family that has been there all the way and very supportive of all the travel and things like that. I've worked for the Buffaloes for 30 plus years now, and they are great business owners, and they really care about their staff and their employees. So learning from them about the business side of things has been amazing. And then on a national level, really, Kathy DeSocio and Frank Wilkinson, they've been great mentors and leaders, and had these high positions inside of our board, and they've just been great to really mentor and bounce ideas off of, and they support you either way. And as they've both, Frank being a past president, Kathy's in her last term now, but they both still volunteer. I don't think you ever really leave, and so I'm glad to have them on board with doing some great mentoring this as my next 2 years as president.
Melissa, in today's social media digital world, I think that we see all elected leaders, and certainly USBC's presidents and USBC's board members are elected by our members, face a lot of scrutiny on social media. Everybody has a comment about our leaders, criticism, sometimes constructive, sometimes not as constructive. Now that you're going to be stepping into that world as the head of our organization, how do you approach that?
Great question. I think you have to be very careful with today's society on social media. Your comments and your actions, they are true representation of who you are, who you work for, and in this case, and who I represent as USBC. I think it's so important that everybody has an opinion, but it's sometimes it's easier just to kind of sit back and just let the conversation go. Sometimes silence is a little better than really engaging in the conversation. Representing the youth, I have always been very careful about things that I post and things that because the kids look up to you as a role model, and that is something that I am very proud of, and that my social space is very boring, and I'm very proud of that fact, and that and I look forward to it. We do read the comments and things like that, but again, it's just going to be different for the next couple of years, and you have to really just take it with a grain of salt and know that you're doing a good job, and you've got a great team behind you, and I think we can get through it together.
Appreciate that perspective. I know that you're always interested in feedback from the constituents, and that's, I think, always the balance that whether we at the staff level or you at the board level look to balance, is that we are a membership organization. We'd love to hear from our members, but finding a way to make sure that dialogue can take place in a constructive manner, I think is critical.
Right, exactly.
I think that's another reason why getting back together again in person, I think, has got to be. I'm sure that you agree. There's nothing like being able to have a conversation, even if it's a difficult conversation, in person, whether that be convention, New Year Gold, and I'm sure you've experienced that many times.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I look forward to us getting back together as a group. Convention is such a huge piece for us, and being able to meet our members and our association managers and just really get together and celebrate what we've done over the last year. I mean, that's an important piece, and I do look forward to getting back to that.
Unfortunately, the COVID-19 situation has taken that away from us in 2020, and it's been such a frustrating thing to work through for everybody in bowling. I know yourself included, certainly us at USBC. It's encouraging that we're starting to see bowling return in many parts of the country, but yet it's also clear that we're going to be dealing with changes related to the way operations, leagues, tournaments take place because of COVID-19. What are your thoughts on just the impact of the virus in the near term, and what we can do to try to keep things together in our important bowling family and keep everyone healthy, both physically and financially?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that USBC's done a great job with the FAQs and really helping the state and locals really help these centers and these league bowlers out, trying to bend the rules a little bit, not bend the rules, but shape the rules to where if we don't know what the rules are going to be as far as when we open back up these centers, and if you have leagues that want to finish, being able to put one team on a pair and being able to spread the lane out. So just, altering the rules just a little bit to really help and help these centers really get back on their feet again. I think it's important for our local and state associations to really work together with these proprietors to help in that aspect. I think it's a great team effort, and it's going to take all of us to get it back together.
Yeah, it's worth reinforcing one of the comments you made that's spot on, and that's that USBC organizationally is wanting to provide flexibility for our associations, for our proprietors to be able to operate, because we know that what the restrictions and regulations may be in place in one city may be different from another.
It's going to vary from state to state, and we don't know. With some states have a lot of different stages or phases. We're a state with 3 phases. New York is a state with 4. I mean, we just don't know what they're going to look like when we all actually get to open our doors again. As you can see behind me, I'm sitting in a bowling center that has not been open since March the 16th. I mean, and it's so it's like I said, it's going to take us all to get it back together. But man, we have the right people in place, and I think we're going to do a great job at it.
That's one of the things that we're just committed to here at USBC too, is making sure that those resources are there. Our rules staff, whether there are questions related to the rules or any of the other resources, that we have dedicated information there on bowl.com, and also just want to give kudos to BPAA, tremendous amount of resources on BPAA.com as well, that we've really been looking to collaborate together and provide that information out there for the community. Yeah,
absolutely. BPA has done a great job with their education and the best practices for the centers when they can't open their doors again. We're grateful that our staff has been able to work from home and to assist all the members, the local and state associations. So, and just having hope at the end of the day that, we're going to get this industry back on its feet again. And I look forward to that. And I'm sure everybody does. We're all ready to bowl again.
There's no doubt about it. And Melissa, we certainly know that the COVID-19 situation is going to throw curveballs at us, at the board, collectively. And so, but, that aside, in these 2 years of your presidential term that are coming up, what are some of the items that you plan to focus on that you feel are highest priorities for USBC that you can share?
Yeah, so I think we touched on it a few minutes ago. I think it's important to help our local and state associations with the Leadership Academy, whether that is in person or virtually, assisting them with like anything they need, getting bowlers back on the lanes and just hearing those pins fall again. Like I said, we all can't wait for that. And then I guess, for me personally, the piece about crowning champions. I mean, we say it a lot, but man, can you not wait to do that again? Crowning champions, PWBA, Open and Women's Championships, Junior Gold, USA Bowl, and Team USA. I mean, there's just so much to look forward to, and I can't wait for that. Can't wait to see that again.
I know it's been one of the hardest things to not have in front of us, because it is just I think it's a central driver to everybody who's involved at the grassroots level. I know it's a central driver for our staff here at USBC headquarters and out in the field as crowning champions.
Absolutely. We say it a lot, but it's who we are. So
no doubt. Well, I've had the opportunity, and as I know you have as well, to work with our executive director, Chad Murphy, for several years. He has a fabulous direct style, in my opinion, and isn't afraid to take on changes in the marketplace as well. How would you describe your relationship with Chad?
So you said a lot there. Sometimes you meet people in life that impact you greatly, and then Chad has really done that for me as being a mentor and bouncing ideas off of, and like you said, his approach is just spot on. It's very direct, but man, hasn't he done a great job with moving the organization forward? Just done a fantastic job. I have so much respect for him for what he has done throughout his years as executive director. And I'll use his old Chadism. He's a good egg. Chad's a good egg.
Well, I know that he's looking forward to continuing, the collaboration that you both have been able to have on the youth side, and being able to build upon that on the USBC board as a whole. So I know that before you've even had the opportunity to get started August 1st, it's tough to ask, a legacy type question. But as you start to think about this, and you think about how will you want to be looked back upon, and what do you want this time of leadership at USBC to represent? How would you do you envision your presidency being viewed 20 years from now as you get started here this year?
Yeah, so it is a tough one to walk into. Obviously, Carl's done an amazing job with what we've been dealt with and all the situations that have come up for him. He's done a fantastic job. In 20 years, I hope people look back at my time at USBC and see that we may be able to thrive again during uncertain times by working together with all of our industry partners. That it was a team effort from USBC and its members, and BPA and its members. I hope they think that we just did a great job, and we really came out of this pandemic and really saw the light and really got bowling back to where we wanted it to be.
Absolutely. Well, we'll end on that, and Melissa, we'll give you the opportunity if you have any other closing thoughts before we wind things down. Just really appreciate your sharing more with the membership, having everyone get a chance to get a better idea of who you are, what you've done, and what you see is ahead.
Yeah, no, thanks again. I appreciate it, and I look forward to the next 2 years and really really being in the role, and the board of directors. Like I said, it's a great team, and I appreciate them so much, and I look forward to working with them and what our future holds for bowling. I think it's going to be great.
Outstanding. Look forward to working with you on it as well. Melissa McDaniel from Raleigh, North Carolina, President-Elect for USBC, and she will assume that role August 1st. Thanks again, Melissa.
Thank you, Jason.
Well, we appreciate Melissa's time today, and certainly appreciate everyone joining us to get to hear and be part of this special edition of the SPORTOF Bowling Show. I'm Jason Overstreet, the Deputy Executive Director of USBC, and look forward to seeing you again for another episode coming soon.